A very good morning to our MIIM members and friends in Germany, and a good afternoon to our participants joining from India. Thank you for joining us today for the informative webinar, Exploring Customized Financing Options for Businesses in India, Gift City and TReDS platform, being organized under the Make in India Mittelstand program in association with our partners Deutsche Bank AG, IndexTB, as well as Rödl and Partner. Rödl and Partner is a knowledge partner for the MIIM program, and I'm Maja Yadu, the MIIM project coordinator for Rödl and Partner in Pune, India, and I will take you through the session today. Now, before we continue the session, let me briefly explain the technical side of our program. The following functions are available to you. In the upper right corner of your screen, you will find a control panel. Here, you can adjust the audio settings and choose, for example, between your headset or the computer audio. Please note that as a participant, you are muted by default. A bit further down the dashboard, you'll find the question panel. We will request the attendees to please post their questions in the question section, and we will take these up in the last leg of the webinar during the Q&A. Now allow me to briefly introduce the Make in India Mittelstand program. MIIM is an initiative of the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, DPIIT, and the Embassy of India in Berlin. MIIM provides a platform that integrates a wide range of support services for German Mittelstand companies and family-owned enterprises. It is part of the Make in India initiative of the Indian government and is a program designed to facilitate investment, foster innovation, enhance skill development, protect intellectual property, and build best-in-class manufacturing infrastructure. The MIIM program offers all support services like strategy consulting, M&A, operational market entry support, tax and legal support, financial services, project financing, location services, technology collaboration, and facilitation of approvals from central and state government agencies under one single umbrella. Part of the MIIM program is today's informative webinar, in which our speakers from Deutsche Bank AG will inform you about customized financing options for your business in India. The Deutsche Bank team will introduce the Gujarat International Finance Tax City, or short Gift City, as well as the Trade Receivables Discounting System, or short TReDS platform to you. Furthermore, we have a representative from IndexTB, Gujarat's investment promotion agency, on board, who will tell you more about investment opportunities in the state of Gujarat. I'm very pleased to welcome our speakers. Now kindly allow me to briefly introduce these speakers to you. I start with Mr. TReDS Trivedi. Mr. TReDS Trivedi is Assistant General Manager with the Industrial Extension Bureau, popularly known as IndexTB. He is an integral part of the Investment Promotion Division for the state of Gujarat in India. Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit is one of India's leading investment summits across all states. Besides being an integral part of the planning and communication teams for this mega event, he is also associated with the business research activities to promote the industry of Gujarat. We also have three speakers from the Deutsche Bank team. Mr. Umang Agarwal is part of the trade finance and lending team at Deutsche Bank and has been with the bank for about 8 years. Prior to his stint with Deutsche Bank, he has worked as a product manager at ICICI Bank. He holds an MBA in finance from Wellinger Institute, Mumbai. Ms. Bidisha Gupta has been working with Deutsche Bank for more than 3.5 years and has a total banking experience of 18 years across both India's and the UK's markets, with a focus on trade finance and lending. She is currently responsible for the trade finance and lending requirements for global conglomerates from West India and drives the TReDS business initiative for Deutsche Bank. She has a PG from Chicago Booth School of Business and an MBA from University of Calcutta. Mr. Manish Singh has 9 years of experience of working across MNC and Indian banks in the corporate banking division. Manish holds an MBA in finance and a Bachelor of Technology in Mechanical Engineering. After his bachelor's degree, Manish has also worked with conglomerates like Reliance Industries and Tata Steel in the project management domain. Now, we will begin with Deutsche Bank's keynote, Exploring Customized Financing Options for Businesses in India, Gift City and TReDS platform. And without further delay, I would like to hand over the virtual mic to the Deutsche Bank team.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you for the introduction. Next slide. Thank you everyone for joining in, and we really appreciate your giving your time for this event. Before jumping into today's topic, which is TReDS and Gift City, I would also like to introduce you to Deutsche Bank India franchise. Deutsche Bank has been in India for almost 43 years, It was set up in the year 1980. We are a complete, as in a universal bank in India, wherein we offer corporate banking, investment banking, as well as retail banking solutions to our clients and customers. We have around 18 branches across India, and we service around 1500 plus corporate clients in India. The focus is to definitely serve our home market clients, which are from Germany and Europe, and take care of their requirement of in India any kind of banking and financial requirements in India. So we are a bank which has invested a lot in technology, and we have also uh, generated India specific online platforms and India specific technological solutions that suit India in terms of import and export. So without delaying it any further, I would like to uh, give this stage to Umang, who is from our trade finance team, to take it ahead.
Thank you, Manish. So, request to switch to the next slide. Yeah. So, before getting into the specific Gift City as initiative, I just want to take you through a bit of a history. Now, most of you already know that India as economy has been remain under a lot of restrictions with respect to local regulations, primarily to protect the Indian economy and the banking sector from the global macro environment and the FX volatility. Since 1992, the government of India started taking stepwise initiatives to make the Indian economy bit open and at par with the global players. But these actions or initiatives were taken stepwise to ensure that the economy or the country remains ready to manage those kind of volatility applicable or related to these kind of situations. Uh, Although the market was open for majority of the industry, but the banking was even since 1992 till 2000 onwards has been remain shut for the banking industry, primarily to ensure that the local banking system is rock solid and is able to protect the fragile economy to a large extent. This led to some additional cost for the banking, but it ensured that the country was able to sail through the difficult period, including the 2008 subprime crisis or the COVID few years back. Now, as the India is emerging as the next superpower or a soft power in global world, Gift City as a strategic initiative has been taken up by the government of India to set up a place within country which is at par with any other global center, specifically with respect to financial services, without any condition or restriction stipulated currently in India. So what does it mean is that if any entity which is situated or any corporate which is situated in Gift City will have all the freedoms which currently they have at Singapore, Dubai, or Hong Kong or equivalent market all over the world. They will not be constrained by the kind of restrictions which today, for example, your subsidiary in India is facing or Deutsche Bank India is facing with respect to dealing with the foreign currency. So to start with that, the Gift City is something which has been set up with a special act of the parliament where the powers of all the local regulators have been taken away and a new regulator called IFSC-A, so International Financial Service Center Authority, has been established to allow this particular location to work as an independent function. Now here, this is the first true smart city in India and conceptualized as a future city which can compete with the global financial centers. Because this is an open market, obviously it extend a lot of benefits for the corporates as well as for the FI institutes situated out of the Gift City. This has been called as a FI unit which is being set up in Gift City is being called as a IFSC banking unit and in short form IBU. So you may face or see that particular short uh, form in different conversations. Now here, what is there for the corporates or for the FIs? First and the foremost, the local Foreign Exchange Management Act, known as FEMA, is something which is not applicable. So the inflow or outflow of the foreign currency from Gift City is completely free, whereas from India is restricted. to a very large extent. Second, because the gift city is situated within India, the double tax treaty, which is applicable between two countries, is not applicable. What it means is that today, if an Indian corporate, a subsidiary of a German parent, is taking a suppose a loan from the parent, which is an intercompany loan, despite it's an intercompany loan, because it's between Germany and India, that attracts a 10% withholding tax on all the interest which is paid from the country. Sorry, for all the interest which is being paid by the subsidiary to the parent. Now here, if a similar loan is extended by gift city to the Indian subsidiary of the MNC, that 10% additional cost will not be applicable. Second, here, because this is within India, from the regulatory norms perspective, which is hygiene norms like KYC, operational aspects, everything is identical between India and gift city. So the operational hustle becomes much lesser. If I take an example, if an Indian subsidiary today wants to take a loan from suppose DB Singapore or any other offshore financial center, they would be required to go through the entire KYC and documentation process again, which can differ from India, considering it's a different regulation and different country. But here, those conditions are not applicable, and hence it becomes much faster and easier for an Indian corporate to comply with these regulations. Third, here in India, again, from a banking stability point of view, there has been restriction that a bank can take X amount of exposure on a bank or a corporate. Because of which, what happened? Suppose you sitting in Germany who wants to issue a guarantee to a beneficiary in India, that used to be rooted like you have a facility with DB Frankfurt. They issue a corporate guarantee, sorry, or a counter guarantee to DB India, and DB India will issue a final guarantee to the Indian Benny. Here, because of these limit restrictions, many times the Deutsche India is not able to support, and then we look for a cross flows where the Deutsche Frankfurt will issue that bank guarantee to some other bank, and some other bank will issue the final guarantee. And it not just time consuming, but it's a costly affair as well. Now here, being a gift city, not constrained by these limit restrictions, such flows can be directly moved to the country. So same example, you want to issue a guarantee to an Indian beneficiary. So you get a counter guarantee issued from DB Frankfurt in favor of DB Gift City, and DB Gift City will issue the guarantee to Indian Benny. Now there can be question that why can't this guarantee be directly issued? So that's where the Indian beneficiaries, they prefer to get a guarantee from a bank situated in India rather than getting a guarantee directly from a bank in Germany. The very important piece, which is the fourth here, is that the Deutsche Gift City branch or any Gift City branch is not constituted as a branch of an India business. That is being treated as a branch of the parent. So Deutsche Gift City will be a branch of DB Frankfurt or DB Germany. So, and the capital which is available with DB Frankfurt will be available with DB Gift City. So there is no separate capital provisioning required or separate licensing required. So it's straight through extended arm of the Deutsche Germany, and all the rating benefits which are available at Deutsche Germany will be available to DB Gift City as well. Another important piece here is the ability to deal in the different hedging solutions. So in India, the non-deliverable forwards, which is called NDF, that something has been prohibited over the period. But as this is a global financial center, now the government has permitted those kind of products as well. So in terms of the structured solutions, be it in terms of financing, flow, or FX, that's where there's a lot of innovative solutions can be extended by the bank situated at the gift city. So considering like all these different pieces put together, it makes all the sense for a Deutsche to open a branch and provide those solutions to our MNC clients, which is based in Germany or at other locations in Europe, as well as their subsidiaries in India. And that's where we went live with the DB Gift City branch in the 2022. So if you can just move to the next slide, please. Now, so just to keep things pretty simple, here what we have tried to project is that looking at all those different kind of benefits, what currently we can offer, or what we can, or what all services you can avail from a Gift City branch. Now here, as I said, that we have went live in Gift City last year with the phase one, which is focused on all the trade finance and lending products, including the hedging solutions. The idea here is that to offer a full bouquet of solutions across the financing requirement of our clients, which involves both funded as well as the non-funded solutions. If I talk about the non-funded solutions, that's where the guarantee solutions or the LCs that comes into the picture, which includes both the counter guarantee route, which I just touched upon, or the direct guarantee routes as well. So if just to take a quick example on the direct guarantee piece, what can happen is that for a company which is working in the EPC space or project construction space, there many times you need to set up multiple SPVs to do each and every project, and getting a guarantee issued for each SPV in India is quite cumbersome, because as per the local laws, the bank needs to onboard each and every SPV, perform the documentation, and then issue the guarantee. Whereas at Gift City, a third-party guarantee is a permitted solution or possible solution where a single facility can be set up at a parent level, and then that facility can be used to issue guarantee for different subsidiaries. So it becomes extremely efficient with respect to the operational flow, documentation, as well as from a commercial point of view. If I move towards the funded solution, that's where it covers again the whole gambit, which on the purchase side, the import financing, export side, the sales side, which is the export financing, and on the Capex side, which is the long-term financing. On the import financing side, the solution includes a buyer's credit facility, which is nothing but invoice financing for an Indian corporate in India. So a subsidiary in India for you today cannot take a FCY loan from Deutsche India because of local restrictions, which they can now take from the Gift City. And need not to say here, the advantage is one is more cost competitive, considering the tax angle is not involved. Plus, it's much more faster and operationally efficient because of the lesser documentation and KYC requirement. The second piece over there is the Usance payable and site letter of credit financing, which is an innovative solution where we do a reimbursement financing for our clients. I'll not get into too much of detail over here, and maybe we can connect on a specific case-to-case query in the interest of the time. But here, basically, what is done is that the financing itself is under the letter of credit for an Indian corporate, where it remains acceptance on their books and doesn't qualify as a loan on the books. And then the third is the cross-border financial supply chain solution, and that's where we can run a program where the multiple suppliers are onboarded by Deutsche to give them a financing at a competitive rate, and it remains a trade payable in the books of the Indian corporate. This particular offering is a bit more complicated with respect to India. This is a pretty standard offering at other locations, but in India, this is slightly more complicated due to the local regulations and the way the Indian corporate can execute agreement with the offshore lender. Moving to, I think one of the use case which I would like to share, if you can please click on that link, which is there on the bottom right corner of the slide, which is specifically, yeah, thanks, for the long tenor financing, which we believe will be very interesting for all of you. This is related to external commercial borrowing piece. Here, one of the example I shared that earlier, that a parent wants to give intercompany loan. They currently, as per the local laws, the loan needs to be done for minimum 5 to 10 years. So it puts up a cash in a trapped situation because the early payment is not possible as per local laws. And that's where we offer this a Gift City as a potential solution, as a financing from a Gift City can be for as less as 1 year and can go up to 10 years depending on the requirement of subsidiary. Need not to say the overall cost benefit is there, considering the different taxation laws involved with the different jurisdiction. This solution can also be put up through a guarantee route where the parent secures the exposure and need not to place a cash with the bank, then the DB Gift City comes as a financing location with a shorter tenor financing compared to the longer tenor which would have been applicable in case of a intercompany loan in India. So maybe you can just move back to the main slide. Yeah, if you just click on the link. Yeah, thank you. So just to summarize over here, sorry, if you can just move, just give me one more minute on the slide, please. So before moving into the next initiative, which is called TReDS, the Gift City as a place provides a lot of flexibility to both the Indian subsidiaries of the MNCs as well as for the corporates who are situated outside India. So there's a value proposition for both the side of the business, and because the framework is very flexible, it allows the banks to be innovative and creative to provide the requisite solutions. So I'll just pause over here and I'll hand over to Bidisha to take you through the next set of the presentation on the next initiative, which is called TReDS, Trade Receivable and Exchange Discounting System.
Thanks, Umang, and good morning to my friends in Germany and good afternoon to the participants from India. So before we dive into TReDS, a bit of background around it. TReDS is a short form of Trade Receivable Discounting System. It's a marketplace or an exchange place. Now, this system has been developed and promoted by Reserve Bank of India to ensure that the small and medium enterprises get paid on a timely basis through a very digitized channel. So we'll take a pause here to understand how do we define MSME. So if any organization which is clocking a turnover of around 28 million euros up to 28 million euros on an annual basis, you fall in the category of MSME. And if you are anyways doing a turnover of around 55 million, then you are a corporate who is mandated by the government to register under this platform. So either ways, whether you are a buyer or a supplier and present in the country and availing of purchases from these MSMEs, then TReDS is a very innovative platform which has been providing digitized payment solution as a platform for all the payments for supply financing. So how does this work? This is an online platform through which if you are purchasing, there is an acceptance to the invoice that has to be given by the corporate upon presentation of an invoice by the MSME supplier, and the payment is done by the financing bank. So at the moment, there are three entities who are licensed by the government. One is InvoiceSmart, the other is M1 Exchange, and the third one is RXIL. Deutsche Bank is live with all the three exchanges, and we are currently doing transactions with all of them. So on an average, this platform does a monthly flow of 550 million euros and has more than 3,000 corporates registered. The corporates find it very useful to avail of a deferment in their payment system through this option. Can we go to the next slide? So under this, under the MSME Act, whenever a corporate is purchasing from an MSME, the payment needs to be made under 45 days. But if the discounting or the factoring is done through this exchange, then RBI allows an extension up to 180 days. So a deferment in the working capital flow is possible in case of discounting through this platform. It's a platform or an exchange place, and hence it's a bank agnostic platform. So it's a one-time registration that any corporate and the MSME partners need to do on this platform. And by virtue of that, they can avail of financing across any of the banks that they select through the platform. The rate is very competitive and it provides an end-to-end digitized solution for all the purchase needs. So today corporates face a lot of challenges in case they want to look at an off-balance sheet structure, or they want to avail of a financing where they are deferring the payment, and especially on the payable side. And this kind of a platform allows a seamless integration with the SAP along with these suppliers, and a one-time integration process through which the flexibility is offered. The banks are present, multiple financing bank is present in the platform. At the moment, some 55 odd banks are there, and Deutsche Bank is one of the prime multinational banks who's present across all the three platforms. So from a corporate perspective, the benefit that you can expect is, one, you can avail of deferment through a very seamless fashion. It's a one-time onboarding. It's a very digitized workflow. There's flexibility around choosing which bank you want to partner with. And obviously, it helps in strengthening your supplier relationship. You can avail of a better payment terms in case you want to avail of financing through this TReDS platform. So in a net solution, this is a one-stop solution for both the corporate as well as the MSMEs. And we have seen tremendous growth in the volume since the time this platform has got launched. From a time when they were clocking around $100 million, we have seen they have clocked around $550 million of monthly flows, and around 3,000 odd corporates are currently registered, with 30,000 plus suppliers who are availing of financing through this platform. So this has become a key initiative by the government in order to ensure timely payment being made to a very critical part of the economy, which is the MSMEs. Can we move to the next slide? So this basically, this slide kind of covers how the flow works. The flow is, as I mentioned, it's a one-time documentation and KYC. Once the platform onboards these corporate, the suppliers are also onboarded by the platform as per the KYC norms of RBI, and the financing bank has a direct arrangement with the TReDS platform and an agreement which is done directly with the bank. So the corporates like yourselves do not need to have any kind of documentation with the banks. You have to do a one-time documentation with the TReDS platform, and you can select any platform of your choice, and the discounting can be availed basis the rate that is kind of structured. We also offer a closed user group kind of an arrangement wherein we can work with you in order to figure out which is the bank with which is the supplier with which, and what kind of rate works for you in terms of discounting. So we can take that up one-on-one in case there is any query related to it. So in a nutshell, if I may, if I can summarize, this is a one-stop solution which provides a supply chain option in order to avail of any financing or any kind of deferment in your payment terms, both from the supplier side as well as from the corporate side. The supplier benefits because they get a very good rate of interest, which they would have not otherwise got through their direct banking routes, and they are able to choose their financing banks directly. And the corporate also gets better rates. They are able to work better deals or better terms with their suppliers, and a one-time process enables them to ensure deferment and off-balance sheet proposal. So this of course opens up a lot of options, and this allows the suppliers as well as the corporates to avail of the benefits, and we've seen the platform growing quite a bit. So I will pause here for from a TReDS perspective, and then we will take it up in case of any further questions.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your expertise with us today, Mr. Agarwal, Ms. Gupta, and Mr. Singh. And I would now, without further delay, like to hand over to Mr. TReDS, who will inform us about the state of Gujarat as an investment destination. Over to you, Mr. TReDS.
Hello, am I audible?
I can hear you, I can't see you yet.
Give
Now I
me a
can see your
sec.
presentation. That's perfect already.
Yeah, it's just starting. Not a problem. Yeah.
Okay.
So, good morning to all my friends from Germany, and good afternoon to my friends from India. I am TReDS, as introduced by Maya. I am Assistant General Manager with Industrial Extension Bureau. That is basically the official investment promotion organization of the state of Gujarat. So I'm here to brief you about what all investment opportunities are present in Gujarat and how can government organization handhold the potential investors to welcome and set up their industries in Gujarat. So as you might know, uh, Gujarat is one of the state located in the western part of India, and overall we are just 5% of India's population, yet we contribute more than 6% of geographical area and 9% of the country's GDP. And as discussed in the previous presentations in this very webinar, there are a lot of positives which are happening around the industry in Gujarat. The cumulative FDI has already risen above 55 billion in last 22 years cumulatively. As a state, we have kind of 18% of the India's industrial output and more than 20% of the India's total factories that we have. We are the pioneering states with many firsts. So, give me a sec. Yeah. So, ease of doing business, we are ranking in the top. Startup rankings, we are the best performer across the globe. Logistics performance index, so we have got the best of the best exporters in the state of Gujarat. Preparedness index, so we are ranking very high in the national level export preparedness index. Good governance index, we are ranking pretty high. Then there are two facets of when it comes to investment promotion. One is the hand-holding of the investors when the time prior to their investment in the state, and second is once they have already invested, once they're already here, then the government also plays some role. So prior to the industries coming in the state of Gujarat, we handhold them with everything: the requirement about land, the requirement about labor, the requirement about resources, about the capital, about the incentives. Everything the government of Gujarat is playing a very active and proactive role in terms of the investors' handholding. This is one of the striking features of our industrial scenario. Like, we are the only state in India who is a power abundant state. Gas and water grid are there. So these are the couple of things that any industry requires. They'll require water, they'll require gas, they'll require power or electricity, and most importantly, the road and surface connectivity. So we have two international airports and almost 8 to 9 different national airports. Road connectivity is there. Land bank. So this is one of the novel initiative by the state government in which we have the entire land bank online. So, for example, if you're sitting in Germany and if you want to look that, okay, I want to establish a kind of cement plant in Gujarat, so where can be my probable land location? So you don't have to contact us. You don't have to come over here in person. You just go on our Gujarat Land Bank portal and it will enlist you all the potential land options that will be 100% suitable to you, government land as well as the private land. So then thereafter you can contact us. You can say that, okay, we have enlisted these 4 or 5 options, and then we can start conversations with our investor. So this is the kind of communication model that we follow. These are some of the future-ready mega projects. The dedicated freight corridor is passing through Gujarat. The Delhi-Mumbai industrial corridor. So we have kind of 38% which is passing through the state of Gujarat. Gift City is already been communicated with you by my fellow speakers. Dholera is one of the striking greenfield special investment region located in the southwest state of Gujarat, which is a kind of entire novel city which we're building and which will be spread in and around 920 square kilometers of area. Then we have the India's first speed rail that will be commencing between Ahmedabad and Mumbai. Mandal Becharaji is one of the regions in Gujarat which is famous for the automobiles and the auto ancillary units, greenfield ports and renewables. This is also one of the very salient features of the Industrial Department of Government of Gujarat, that we only follow the lead policies. So investor is small, large, medium-sized investor. For any investors, the incentives will be the same depending on the number of uh, the capital of your investment, but the incentives will be the same, the percentages will be the same, the policies will be very conducive. So we don't kind of bifurcate investors into part A and part B. For us, investor is an investor. Gujarat sectoral leadership, we are national leaders in sectors like automobiles, ceramics, chemicals and petrochemicals, dairy products, gems and jewelry, pharmaceuticals, ports and maritime, textiles, and so on. And these on the right hand side of the screen, we have enlisted the emerging sectors for the economy of Gujarat. Ease of living. So this is also one of the a very important parameter. Like an investor comes to Gujarat for investing. So what happens to their family? What happens to their the staff, their well-being? So Gujarat is also one of the very rich states in terms of ease of living. We have smart and livable cities. We have cleanest cities of the India. We have a lot of recreational facilities going on. Healthcare facilities, like we have around 25 world-class medical facilities. Civil Hospital of Ahmedabad is one of the largest hospital in terms of number of beds in the entire Asia continent. Education, we have globally leading education institutes like Indian Institute of Management, IIM Ahmedabad, National Institute of Design, MICA, NIFT, Fashion and Technology, Architecture, Technology, Innovation, Research, and so on. Last but not the least, we are also one of the acclaimed tourist destination state. Like on the screen, you can see the Statue of Unity, which is around 182 meters high and which happens to be the world's tallest statue. So we have a daily footfall of 4 to 5 lakh people in this vacation time in India. Apart from that, we also have various national parks. We have one of the famous personalities of India, father of our nation, Mr. Mahatma Gandhi. So we have the Gandhi Ashram, Sabarmati Ashram, located in Ahmedabad itself. So likewise, we also invite tourists in Gujarat. We also help them develop tourism circuits in Gujarat, and thereby make sure that any and every person who is invited to Gujarat or who happens to be in Gujarat has a kind of pleasing experience. So that perhaps summarizes my presentation. Over to you, Maya.
Thank you, Mr. Trivedi, for this really informative presentation, and especially the last slide with the tourist destinations almost, made me pack my bags and go to Gujarat straight away, which I can't do, not now.
Yeah.
Okay, and last but not least, sorry, I would like to request our speakers to just come together for our Q&A session. Only a few questions. We still have a little bit of time. We're actually well in time today, which is nice. Perfect. Here we go. Okay. So the first question that I have is actually in connection to what you were just mentioning, Mr. Trivedi. So it'll go to you. When an industry comes to any state, there are of course a lot of permissions required for them to operate, right? So being a government organization, how do you ensure a smooth application and execution for the industries?
Okay, Maya, this is a very important question. Like in my presentation, we discussed about the dual role that the government obeys. So until the investor is in the Gujarat, we have a different role, and once the investor is there in our state, we have different role. So considering the fact that we have a lot of foreign investors coming in the state, so all of them are not well versed with every license being required. So what we have done is that we have a unified online portal which is known as IFP, that is Investment Facilitation Portal. So for example, you are having a kind of renewable solar energy plant in Gujarat. So once you have that plant, we will be giving you one login and your password as an investor, which you can operate, and there will be all the entire list of licenses which will be there on the website itself. So say for example, considering hypothetically that you are opening a solar plant in Gujarat, so the system, the IFP portal in itself will tell you that, okay, as an investor, you need to take these 3 licenses. You have to apply all of them for online. And these are the departments from which you will have the licenses. So even on the other side of the portal, the departments also have their own login and they also have their own standard operating procedures. So license number 1 has to be cleared within 3 days only. License number 2 has to be cleared within 6 days only. So we operate by these SOPs, and thereby we facilitate the investors without any red tapeism or without any further system delays, I would say. I hope I'm answering the question.
That's very interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I have another question, this time for our Deutsche Bank team here. Can a corporate also add their non-MSME vendors to the TReDS platform, or is it restricted to MSMEs exclusively? Maybe someone from Deutsche Bank could take that up, whoever feels like it.
Yes. Yeah, sure. So MSMEs can, if your turnover is over 500 crores or in euro terms around 55 million euros, then you have to be essentially registered on the platform as a corporate who is able to discount the invoices. Now, from a supplier perspective, if you are a supplier to those corporates, obviously you can, if you're an MSME, you can always get registered. If you are not an MSME, then this platform is not available from a supplier perspective. But from a corporate perspective, which is relevant for most of you here, you anyways have to register as per RBI guidelines, given the turnover criteria that has been fixed by the government.
Okay. We actually have just received another question in the question panel as well. So the question, oh wow, there's a lot of questions coming in right now. I start with the first one. So that's a question for Deutsche Bank, and I'm sorry, I'm getting very close here because the script is very small on my screen. Question for Deutsche Bank: can an existing ECB from non-gift based bank be transferred to gift based bank to enable prepay ECB?
So ECB from a non-gift city can be transferred to a gift city branch. That is permitted. There are some stipulation, but it can be done. This will not be constituted as a prepayment, but the replacement of the lender, where the average tenure of the ECB needs to be kept intact. What I mean hereby is that, as per the local regulations, when an Indian resident is taking a ECB from offshore lender, there is a minimum tenor which is prescribed, which is majority of the cases 3 years. So I just take a simple example. There's a ECB which was taken for 3 years, for example, from the DB Frankfurt. And if you want to move it to Gift City, here let's take example, the residual tenor is 1.5 year. Then the ECB with DB Gift City will remain for minimum residual tenor of 1.5 year and can be transferred. So it can be done.
Okay.
So just to add here, ECB has a minimum tenor guideline of 3 years. To clarify on the example that my colleague just given, 3 years is the minimum tenor of ECB. So if you have availed of ECB for 1.5 years and you wish to transfer interim, then you can do that to Gift City, but the remaining tenor of 1.5 years will be applied here.
Okay. Thank you so much for the answer, or for the answers rather. I have another question here, and you'll have to guide me here because I'm not an expert on the topic, but it kind of sounds like maybe you may just have touched upon that or answered it. So I just read it out anyway. Just let me know if it's not relevant. So the question here is, what if we have a business dealing in other states of Gujarat, and whether this kind of facility is then still available to German companies?
So maybe Trivedi, before you jump in from a Gujarat perspective, so I'll just take it from a Gift City perspective. So Gift City, although this is situated in Gujarat, this is an initiative for Government of India and available for all the corporates, irrespective where they are located. So they can continue to avail the facility from the Gift City location and will not be constrained by their physical location in India.
Okay, thank you so much. I think I have another question. We have an overflow of questions right now, so bear with me. I think that one is most probably for Mr. Trivedi. So as Gujarat is encouraging the renewable energy sector, is there any reason for capping the generation of solar energy 1 megawatt annually for any manufacturing industrial unit?
Can you come again, Maya?
Yeah. So as Gujarat is encouraging the renewable energy, is there any reason for capping the generation of solar energy in brackets 1 megawatt annually for any manufacturing industrial unit?
Yes, see, the first reason is the geographic reason. So the Gujarat's geographic location is such that we promote the renewables energy sector and the plants. So that is one of the primary reasons. Apart from that, we are also giving subsidies and incentives for not only for the roof in to be placed in Gujarat, the householders and residents, but also for the huge plants. So we currently the government is promoting the model in which the entire villages are being run on the solar energy. So I guess these 2 points are one of the prima facie parameters and factors for promoting the solar energy and renewable sector in Gujarat.
Okay, interesting. Next question. Are all corporates above 500 crore are registered on TReDS platform? So I guess the question is, are they supposed to be registered on the TReDS platform, right? If I rephrase it a little bit.
Yes, as per RBI guideline, all corporates above 500 crores needs to be essentially registered on the TReDS platform.
Okay, nice. That's a very straightforward answer.
So
I have another.
a small correction.
Yes, please.
This is the Government of India. Sorry, just a small correction. It's a law of the land. So as per the Government of India directive, all the corporates with turnover of 500 crore needs to be registered. So the scope is much wider because it's a Government of India directive.
Okay, thank you. And I have another question, and it includes a lot of abbreviations. So I've also sent it to you in the chat so that you can kind of, reread it if you don't get it, as in if it's a little complicated at first. At least it sounds complicated to me. So FX received as FDI can be utilized through Gift City Bank without converting them into Indian rupees, and can be utilized for repayment of obligations in FX.
Sure. So here the gift city being equivalent to an offshore location or offshore bank, the conversion into INR is not mandated. In fact, as a principle, gift city is allowed only to deal in the foreign currency and not in INR. The only limitation here is that if this FDI is coming into the account of a foreign company. So if, for example, the German headquarter opens account with gift city, brings the FDI, and then uses for investment in India, they can hold the money in foreign currency without converting, and as and when either repatriate to Germany or use it for the investment in India. But the Indian resident, they cannot open account with gift city because that restriction will be there. So that benefit is not available for a subsidiary in India. So slightly technical, but I hope I'm able to answer your question.
Hey, I hope so too. As long as nobody speaks up from the audience who posed a question, I'll just say it's answered. Okay, so another one that we got is, what if a German company wants Indians to invest in a German company? Are there special facilities for ODI from India to Germany through Gift City?
So if an Indian company or subsidiary in India wants to invest into a German company, they have so there is a dedicated set of regulations and set of laws which needs to be followed for this, and this something has been relaxed over the period of Government of India. So earlier it used to be under approval route from RBI, which is now under automatic route. So the AD bank, which is the Deutsche India, can very well advise them. What Gift City can do is that here it's not just the investment, but many times the Indian company may have a project office offshore, which is not a another legal entity, but they are setting up a branch office or project office for an offshore business. That particular entity can also be serviced from Gift City. So obviously, the investment which they will make, that entity can take facilities or services from Gift City, but it's not restricting there. It is extending beyond that. Just even the project office or a branch office, they can also avail funded, non-funded facilities, can hold accounts, and this becomes extremely efficient for an Indian treasurer specifically to control the funds and utilize the fund, because everything remains in the same time zone, and here he has a real-time visibility to utilize and deploys funds from time to time. So yes, the answer is it can be helpful.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Unless there are any other questions, and I can't see any right now. Thank you so much, by the way, to also everyone asking questions, because it's really nice to have this kind of interactive session. Oh, and I can see there's another question coming in. I think that's the last one we can take. It's, can we get email IDs of all speakers? Of course, we'll share the contact details. I think that's in everyone's interest, so we'll do that, of course. Perfect. So thank you so much for joining us for this webinar today, and we hope you found it informative and engaging. And we understand that your time, of course, is valuable, and we really appreciate that you chose to spend it with us. If you have any further questions or comments, don't hesitate to reach out to either the MIIM program or our speakers. And as I just mentioned, of course, I'll share the details with you. We will be happy to continue the conversation and to provide any additional information you may need, of course. Now, one small thing, if you happen to be interested in the medical devices sector, I would just like to take this opportunity to also invite you to our upcoming webinar, Gateway to Growth, Exploring India's Lucrative Medical Device Industry, on 6th of June, which I think is also going to be very interesting. And you'll find all the details on LinkedIn, or alternatively, you can also reach out to me or to the MIIM team at any time, and we'll provide you with the rest of the details that you might need. Now, last but not least, I would like to once more thank all our speakers, Mr. Agarwal, Ms. Gupta, Mr. Singh, and Mr. TReDS, especially now, I mean, of course, always, but also thank you so much for answering these questions ad hoc, as well as the Embassy of India and Rödl and Partner for the support. And thank you, dear attendees, for your patient listening, and we look forward to connecting with you soon. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and goodbye und auf Wiedersehen to our German audience, and looking forward to connecting with you soon. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.